You ever notice that every time this country starts to stabilize, someone in Washington finds a new way to pull the pin? So now the latest crisis isn't about war overseas. It's about what's happening inside our own chain of command. A group of lawmakers decided to release a video telling members of the United States military to refuse unlawful orders. Sounds noble, right? Except they're not generals. They're politicians. And when politicians start talking directly to the troops about which orders to follow, that's not leadership. That's called interference. You can call it what you want, but I call it a dangerous precedent, one that cuts straight through the heart of discipline, loyalty, and structure. Because once you invite politics into the ranks, you don't get a military that serves the Constitution. You get a military that serves chaos. So here's what really happened. 6 lawmakers, most of them with military or intelligence backgrounds, posted a video saying, if you get an unlawful order, you have a duty to refuse it. Every military service member knows this. They don't need to hear it from some suit. Now, under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, that is true. Every soldier knows this. You obey lawful orders. You refuse unlawful ones. But there's a reason that lesson is taught by commanders and not Congress. Because the moment civilians in DC start dictating which orders are legal or illegal, you've crossed the line between oversight and subversion. It's one thing for Congress to fund the military. It's another for them to start influencing it from within. That's how you fracture trust in leadership. That's how you divide a fighting force that's supposed to move as one. Think about what that message really says to an active duty Marine, a soldier, an airman. It says, don't trust your chain of command. Trust us instead. It puts politicians above commanders, and that's not how the Republic was designed to function. It isn't about right or left. It's about the difference between order and confusion. Because once troops start second-guessing their superiors based on political talking points, you don't have a disciplined military anymore. You have a mob with rank insignia. Now, in response, the FBI has opened interviews with the 6 lawmakers. The Pentagon is reviewing their comments, and of course, the media is spinning it as courageous truth-telling. Let me stop you there. Courage isn't bypassing your chain of command. Courage is respecting it, even when it's inconvenient, even when it costs you politically. See, the same people who say they care about democracy have no problem undermining one institution that actually protects it. They'll talk all day about saving the republic while they dismantle the very discipline that makes that republic possible. And that's what no one in DC seems to understand. The military doesn't exist to serve a party. It doesn't exist to serve politicians. It exists to defend the Constitution. And that means staying apolitical. Once you let political influence leak into the command authority, you might as well hand your enemies a roadmap to our collapse. History is full of nations that fell apart not because they lost on the battlefield, but because their leaders turned the military into a campaign prop. You want to know how you end up there? By letting people who've never taken an order start telling others which ones to follow. Let's be honest, this isn't about illegal orders. It's about control. It's about influence. It's about setting a precedent that politicians can reach into the barracks whenever it suits them. And that's not oversight. That is manipulation. If you care about this country, if you care about structure, then you should care deeply about keeping those lines separated. Because the day the military becomes a political tool, you don't have a republic anymore. You have a regime. Here's the irony. The same lawmakers who tell troops to question authority are the ones who lose their minds when anyone questions theirs. They say they're defending democracy, but democracy doesn't need saving. It needs discipline. And discipline starts with respecting the institutions that keep power in check. You can't have rule of law if every politician thinks they can make their own rules. Now, I've heard the argument. They were just reminding soldiers of their duty. Sure, and I could remind an air traffic controller how to land a plane. But if I'm not in that tower, it's not my place to give instructions. This isn't about what they said, it's about who said it and why. If that message came from a commander in his unit, fine. If it came from a politician to millions of service members across the country, that is meddling. And it opens the door for the next round of inspirational videos to start telling soldiers which orders are politically acceptable. That's not a far-fetched idea. That's how nations crumble from the inside out. You want to know what real leadership looks like? It's quiet. It's disciplined. It's lawful. The men and women I served with didn't need a senator to tell them what an unlawful order looked like or sounded like. They had training, structure, and the moral clarity that comes from living by a code. Politicians love to borrow that code during campaign season, but they don't live by it. And that's why they should stay out of it. So yeah, the FBI is investigating now. And some people will say that's government overreach. Maybe. But let's not pretend these lawmakers are innocent either. Because when you step into a chain of command, but you don't belong in it, and you use your title to influence how soldiers think about obedience, you're not leading, you're tampering. And if you can't see how dangerous that is, then you've never watched discipline erode in real time. Here's the bottom line. Our nation's strength doesn't come from slogans or speeches. It comes from structure, from clarity, from the simple truth that the military takes orders from commanders, not congressmen recording TikToks from their offices. Because every time a civilian official tries to get between a commander and their troops, you chip away at the foundation that keeps this country standing. And when that foundation cracks, it doesn't matter who's sitting in the Oval Office. The republic falls either way. So no, I'm not defending the lawmakers. I'm defending the line that separates politics from command, the line that keeps our military free from partisanship, the line that defines what lawful actually means. And if we let that line blur for convenience, we'll wake up one day and realize it's gone, along with everything it protected. So here's my message to Washington. Stop using soldiers as pawns in your power games. Stop treating the military like it's another campaign prop. And stop pretending chaos is courage. Because freedom doesn't survive without discipline. And discipline doesn't survive when the people giving the orders care more about optics than outcomes. If you want to defend democracy, start by defending the chain of command. Because once that breaks, it's not the politicians who will pay the price. It's the men and women who actually stand on the line. And to everyone else watching, this is exactly why vigilance matters. Stay informed, stay disciplined, and never let anyone, politician, pundit, or bureaucrat convince you that loyalty means picking a side. It means honoring the structure that holds this country together. If you believe that, hit like, share this video, and subscribe to my channel. Because this isn't about politics, it's about principle. And I don't care what party you're in, if you break the chain of command, you break the country. As always, stay alert, stay steady, and hold the line.